say I love you. It's a sin to tell a lie.
Mind the gap. Mind the gap. Stand clear of the doors, please.
Before the Great War, food was in abundance, with new farming techniques making poverty a thing of the past. Well, at least in some places. Food was so commonplace, in fact, that the average resident of 23rd century London wouldn't be able to comprehend it. There was so much to go around that production factories would produce tins of cheap, processed meat by the thousands, just for the benefit of household pets. The dog, a loyal animal, once tamed by the peoples of the British Isles, have by and large reverted, no longer seeing humans at the top of the food chain. In the good old days there was a saying, dog is man's best friend. In post-nuclear Britain, this concept is completely foreign, because after all, food and water are the cornerstone of civilization, for man and apparently beast, and if one wants to have a form of legitimate government, one must have access to and control of these vital resources. The gentry of Westminster, and their military arm, the Tommies, control a good half of London for the most part, stretching from the northwest of the city to the centre. But their control isn't absolute, and while some communities agree to pay a tithe to Westminster, they more or less operate independent of the central government. One of the government's most vital points is the Prilladog factory, a colossal structure that sits just off the edge of the Thames. The smoke fumes flow into the sky day and night, constantly pumping cans of meat, beef, chicken, pork, and of course their most popular option, the mystery meat. The gentry of Westminster is the main beneficiary of the factory, but the rest of London also enjoys a somewhat steady food supply. Well, for the right price, though most of the city's communities also have to have their own food supply to survive, usually in the form of farms. But the Prilladog factory provides a helpful supplement. Classism was always an issue in Britain. Its history after the Civil War is a constant power struggle between the haves and the have-nots, the toffs and the plebs, and the gentry of Westminster and their relationship to the rest of the wasteland is just the next evolution of that dynamic. When the Wayfarer arrived at the Prilladog factory, it was one of his first experiences of life outside of a laboratory. The place was heavily guarded, with dozens of Tommy troops stationed all around the factory's perimeters. Heading inside, the Wayfarer hears a commotion. Following the sound, he finds a man, Alan Carraway.
It's no longer just a matter of principle. It's a matter of health and safety, of our rights. We demand machine maintenance, no more weekly amputations. We demand time off, at least 1 day a week. We demand fair wages, 3 tickets an hour. And other stuff too. We demand to be treated like real people. We're not just Mr. Handy's mindlessly stuffing tins of chum. We're flesh and blood and irradiated spirit, stuffing tins of chum. But we're still real people with real needs. Like bathroom breaks. We demand those too. And if we don't get them, we'll strike. We'll throw down our tools and stuff tins no more. Fair treatment for fair work. Fair treatment for fair work.
Unless you want fair unemployment, get back to work.
Nice speech. Upon basic inspection, the factory is clearly not fit for purpose, and the working conditions are clearly awful before you even start talking about the hours. In the good old days, industrial Britain had heavy health and safety regulations. The early 21st century was rife with arguments about the necessity of such legislation. And boy oh boy, they didn't know how good they truly had it. After Carraway's speech, a man watching from the rafters calls the Wayfarer over with an offer.
You don't work for me. What are you doing on my factory floor?
I heard a commotion.
So you're the type to stick their nose in other people's business, huh? You could be just what I've been looking for. Speak to me in my office. I have a business proposal for you.
This is Harvin Quinney, and he's the manager of the factory, and he wants the Wayfarer's help in dealing with Alan Carraway.
Good. I thought you were a smart one. That's why I want to offer you a job.
I'm not stuffing tins of chum.
Nor would I let you. This job concerns Alan Calloway, the ne'er-do-well you heard earlier. He needs to be dealt with. He's bad for morale, not to mention my profits. But I can't touch him. His following among the rabble grows daily. He seems to have it out for me, personally. He verbally attacks me at every turn, and I've been at my wit's end all month. No idea what to do. And then, who but an avenging angel graced my doorstep? What say you? Will you return this factory to peace?
Isn't there a peaceful way to do this?
I've tried the peaceful approach. I bought him off. He just pocketed the tickets and kept on going. He's more money hungry than I am.
Buy him off again.
And throw more of my hard-earned tickets away. No thank you. There's only one thing Alan understands.
Then there's no other option but violence.
Glad you see it my way. He takes his unauthorized break right about now. Meet me in the break room for a chat with Alan.
But first, before the Wayfarer does anything, he does a bit of his own research, and finds out how Mr. Quinney runs the place. If we manage to get into the terminal in the Prilladog factory, we find all the entries for paid vacation leave, health and safety regulations and safety reports have all been deleted by the management. What a bitch. The supply log though is still in there. There's nothing in there of too great importance. Most of the other entries are all about how their supply is running low and that the gentry wants more food. Attention all workers, we are failing miserably to meet the Tommy quota for this month. The gentry overseers are breathing down our necks, demanding immediate results. Effective immediately, all workers are to toil relentlessly, forsaking rest until the quota is met. Failure is not an option. Let the machinery roar, and the cans be filled without pause. One of the logs talks about a proposed substitute ingredient to replace the Brahmin, although what this is left to our imagination. After much grumbling and dissatisfaction, we have managed to find a marginally tolerable replacement for Brahmin beef in our Prilladog chum. Do not celebrate. This is a mere reprieve. Continue production at all costs. Our existence will not be a fleeting shadow. It should be said that the food from the Prilladog chum isn't the most edible. Some places in Fallout London even use it to plaster walls. These practices are completely backwards. It's borderline slavery. The Wayfarer agrees to help Mr. Quinney, and they confront Calloway alone and isolated. During the conversation though.
What are you doing here?
Yet another unauthorized break.
Do you think I care? You can't touch me, and you know it. Everyone out there loves me, or at least hates me less than you. Pretty soon, I'll be sitting behind your desk and making a difference.
Nice dream. Too bad it's time to wake up. Meet your alarm clock.
Who are you?
I'm just someone passing through.
Then maybe we can chat first. I don't know what he's promised you, but I'll pay more.
100 tickets. I'll pay you 100 tickets. Let's see you top that.
Easy. You think I'll be that stingy when I'm behind your desk? What do you say, stranger? I'll match Harvin's offer now and give you more straight from his desk.
Sorry, Harvin, but I'm going with the better offer.
Backstabbing bastard.
The Wayfarer gets an offer from Calloway and turns on Harvin, quickly dispatching him.
I knew I liked you from the moment you walked through those factory doors. As promised, a bundle of tickets with your name on them. And don't worry about the body. The strays outside can have him for tea. Right then, for that bit extra I promised. Take every tin of Prilladog chum in this room. Now get out of here, so I can get to work.
With that taken care of, and Calloway now in charge, the Wayfarer leaves the Prilladog factory better than he found it. Or at least, so he thought. Throughout his journey through London, the Wayfarer hears all kinds of rumours, but the ones that prick his ear the most are those of disappearances. It's not uncommon for people to be set upon by scavengers or worse, but something about the evidence of these disappearances rubs the Wayfarer the wrong way. No bodies, no spent casings, only a little bit of blood at the scene. They weren't just attacked, these people were taken, most likely alive. It would take some time for the Wayfarer to get a lead, but he would one day, when the ferryman from Thameshaven asks for his help specifically.
I was wondering when you'd get around to opening your own door.
There's more work?
There's always more work. I'm here about the Thames folk disappearances. Not the ones we already stopped. You did good work on that. I'm here about a new one. Or maybe an old one that we're just now noticing. See, another group of Thames folk have gone missing. Only we don't have a mitten or queen to blame this time.
Who's doing it?
Wish I knew. Look, all I know is I went to find them, and only found blood. A lot of it. So, how about you find out whose it is, and where they've gone?
It's not the Thames folks.
Likely some of it is, but I can tell a Thames folk blood from the rest. No. More than one creature caught a bullet during that scrape.
How much blood are we talking?
More than enough to kill a normal man. But I'm guessing at least 2 Thames folk were there. Maybe they're alive. Probably not. But we need to know for sure.
Anything else I should know?
I'm sure there's plenty. But I'm just as much in the dark as you are. Folk are dying. And the only threat we knew about is dead by your hand.
Right, I'll be off now.
Give me that gadget of yours. I'll mark where I found their blood. Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat?
The ferryman has been a good friend to the Wayfarer in the past, and he wants to repay the favour. So he travels to the spot where the ferryman found the bodies. He finds a blood trail and follows it, and it leads him to the doors of the Prilladog factory.
Run like hell and you'll be there.
Can I help you?
I'm following this trail of blood. People are missing.
Folks are always missing. Lurks and worse round these parts. You'd have me believe that this blood trail's all the way out there? Well, it does look like it stretches on for a bit. Fine. I can't leave me post, but I'm sure the boss here will want to know about it. Probably some wild animal running loose. Go on in.
The Wayfarer heads inside. He has a good rapport with Alan, but opts to instead investigate how the sausage is made, so to speak, without talking to his old associate. He asks around.
Oi, what you want, love?
Did you see the blood outside?
Oh, been in London long. We got blood and guts for days. Need anything else, dear?
Do you know anything about someone getting injured?
Injured? Oh, the private security's been down a bloke for a few days now. He's kept to himself back in the restricted zone. Mind they don't catch you down there now.
And discovers that there's a secret hidden room in the place. Heading to the elevator to said room, he runs into the guard.
I think you want to turn around now.
I was hoping you could give me a private tour of the facility.
You that curious? I'll step right through. Ain't giving no tour, though.
The Wayfarer heads up, arriving in a room sealed off from the outside world. No windows, and only one way out. He's suddenly set upon by a group of snatchers. He manages to defend himself and investigates the churning machines. He hacks a terminal and is confronted with a series of horrible entries. The entries are all detailed reports about the snatcher squad that we've just dispatched, going around and looking for Thames folk. We've conducted a thorough sweep of Sector 7B as per directive. Despite exhaustive efforts, very little Thames folk were located for extraction. I suspect they've either evacuated or taken shelter deeper underground. Recommended reinforcements for further searches. Squad leader note: the last batch of Thames folk had some meat on them. We can probably get 3 or 4 days worth of orders of mystery meat out of them. Maybe I can get the boss to give the grunts an extra ticket. Maybe they'll encourage them to go for the meatier ones in the future. Fuck knows where they all went though. All we got were the stragglers. On another terminal, by the big machine, we find what appears to be recipes. Week 9 processing log. 4 Brahmin, 7 chickens, 1 cat. 4 Brahmin processed into beef chum. 7 chickens into chicken chum. 1 cat into cat chum. 1 Brahmin into gravy chum. 4 Team Townsfolk into mystery meat chum. 3 scavengers into mystery meat chum. The Wayfarer finds one of the snatchers propped up against a wall. His name is Cal, and they talk.
You're the one making so much noise.
Did they abandon you here to suffer alone, bleeding out?
The dirty bastards. I was one of the boss's snatchers. One of the best. How many of those swamp breathers did I bring him? And he didn't send down so much as a plaster. Do me a favour. Damn all of the management all to hell for me. That terminal behind me's got all the information you need to take that slime ball down.
Good God. Mystery meat is made of people. Disgusted, the Wayfarer confronts Alan, but not before putting the snatcher out of his and everybody else's misery. The practice of harvesting human meat was started by Harvin, but was continued by Alan. The demands of Westminster were apparently too great to ignore or push back such a practice.
My old business partner. What can I do for you?
I know what's in the mystery meat.
Oh, please, just think about it from my point of view. Look, I appreciate the bleeding heart you got, I do. It's how I got my job, after all. But this is a matter of tickets, and therefore, people's lives. What if I put you on the payroll? You'd be my Thames Haven liaison. Smooth things over with the locals and whatnot. How does that sound? Starting salary is, let's say, 1,000 tickets?
I wonder what Thames Haven would say to that offer.
Alright, look, I just want what's best for my employees. And getting on the wrong side of you won't help with that. Fine. You don't make trouble, I'll stop making trouble. London will have to make do without their mystery meat.
Alan doesn't want to stop the operation, even going as far as to offer us a job. The Wayfarer declines and pushes the issue, to which Alan eventually relents, promising the factory won't continue its current practice. But what he doesn't know is that the Wayfarer had already sabotaged his machine. He only had this conversation with Alan to judge whether he needed to dish out some wasteland justice. The Wayfarer did contemplate destroying the entire facility, root and stem, but that would result in God only knows how many people starving. And it wasn't something the Wayfarer was willing to face the consequences for, as taking such a drastic action would almost certainly result in a war with the Tommies and the gentry. Before the Great War, resource scarcity was thought to be a thing of the past, but in post-nuclear London, even other human beings were seen as merely meat. The Wayfarer leaves the factory once again, this time pondering if there was anything in London even left to save. The story of the Prilladog factory draws heavy inspiration from films like Soylent Green, wherein a dystopian society harvests the corpses of its undesirables to produce food for the masses. Upon initially arriving, we're presented with a basic white hat, black hat, big town scenario. The villainous Quinny, who wants to maximise profits at all costs, versus Caraway, who purports to fight for the rights of other workers. However, we do have some earlier evidence of some of his more devious behaviour.
I've tried the peaceful approach. I bought him off. He just pocketed the tickets and kept on going. He's more money hungry than I am.
So the question then is, who should run the factory? It's likely the Wayfarer's first major choice in the game. Do you honour your word to the Tory, or betray him for the commie? If you choose Caraway, you've established that you're not somebody who will keep their word, but you will try and make decisions that positively benefit post-apocalyptic London. But the quest's twist is that your decision doesn't actually benefit London at all. Caraway basically keeps the factory running as usual. Perhaps he institutes some of his pro-worker policies, but nobody in the factory really comments on it, so there's no way to be sure. And what makes this quest interesting is that it wasn't an insane cult that loves human flesh kidnapping people off the street, but rather the result of a business mandate. and it's a policy the factory will continue no matter what our earlier decision was. The people inside of it are almost immaterial. The factory must produce. It's only by destroying the production machine that the Wayfarer can actually effect a positive change. Well, as positive as damaging a city's food supply can be.